To be good means to be desired or approved of, or to fit a particular role well. To be bad means to be of poor quality or a low standard. It seems straightforward. There's the good guy and the bad guy. This is good, this is bad. End of discussion, right? Unfortunately, nothing's ever that black and white. The guidelines of good and bad is not some easy to follow bulleted list that you can just refer to whenever you come to a moral dilemma. There are no guidelines, much less someone to author the guidelines. Our sense of light and dark is just that. It's ours. This idea of good versus evil is relevant in politics, history, literature, and consciously or not, you usually decide pretty early on who you think is good and bad. Reading books with such strong topics like Sold and Malala can really leave a sour taste in your mouth. How can people justify their evil doings? Do they even see what they're doing as bad? Or do they see it as good? This is really where the line becomes blurred, and everyone believes that they're being morally good. But I want to look and try and understand the imperfect balance of what is right and wrong. Historically speaking, we see this everywhere. Between wars and politics, everyone wants to win. And we often later see what happened through the eyes of the winners. As Americans, we've primarily been on the receiving side of many victories, making it really easy to just assume our good morality. But if you look just a little bit deeper, there are always rooted issues that get in the way of being able to claim greatness. Okay, so there's this example that I like to use because it really makes you think, but it's kind of twisted. I am in no way justifying the actions of this person. So Adolf Hitler is one of the most well-known historical villains for killing over 6 million Jews, in case you didn't know that. Hitler was ruthless and unforgiving, but he was also a very charismatic political leader who, besides killing a bunch of innocent people, did great things for some of his people, including repairing roads and uniting his idea of the perfect country. Stepping into his shoes, Hitler naively believed that the Jewish population was a threat to his country and world. How he convinced himself and his country that killing 6 million people in torturous ways was a good idea, I don't really know. But he managed to do it, and people actually believed him. A lot of his work was done through deception, but it wasn't hard for the average citizen to uncover the truth of this historical genocide. Did he and his followers deep down know that what they were doing was wrong? Or were they too caught up in the threat that they honestly believed they were doing good in the world? We see the same mindset in extremist groups in Malala and in September's and Shiraz. They use their religion and their God to back up their ways and reflect them as good to common people. In I Am Malala, she shows this picture of the Taliban publicly whipping someone. If this is something that you just happen to see on your way to work every day, it's gonna start looking pretty normal to you. Normalizing bad behavior is one easy way to change the outlook from bad to good. Someone's moral compass has to be pretty messed up to be able to justify shooting a girl for wanting to go to school. But it is just that, messed up. They saw what she was doing as bad, even though we see what they did as bad. It all gets jumbled up and it gets really confusing sometimes. So now we have Sold as well. This book had so much deception and lying that it can be hard for even readers to determine what everyone's motives are. As this young girl is being taken from her family and promised a job as a maid in the city, we see her come to meet many people that claim to be there for her. And in a way they are. She's forced to trust them because of the unknown alternative. It's also confusing. I'm afraid of this man, but I also feel grateful that he will protect me from the bad border men with guns. This poor girl had no idea what was becoming of her life. As the book progresses, the main character has to decide to go with the American who's promising her a better life, but her friends have warned her is a lie, or staying where she is, a slave to the house and random men. I know about these Americans. Anita has told me about them. I will not be fooled into leaving here only to be stripped naked and have people throw stones at me and call me a dirty woman. All she knows is that of what she's been told. And here she is, forced to make this life-changing decision off of a hunch. Just as a reader, I was questioning the motives of the Americans and her friends and her owners and the men. You question everything. Reading Julius Caesar has left me constantly trying to figure out who was the archetypal hero and villain that we see so often in Shakespeare. Who should I root for? Who should I hate? Even after reading, I still don't really know the answer to that. There's so many conspiracies, and I find that many perspectives have some truth in them. But even after finishing the book and researching it further, I still couldn't tell you who the good guys are. Brutus is one of the leading contestants for the hero. If I seem guarded, it's only because I'm uneasy with myself. Lately, I've been overwhelmed with private thoughts and inner conflicts, which have affected my behavior. His internal conflicts push him up the leaderboard as well as his reasoning. His actions are somewhat justifiable in his love for Rome. But at the end of the day, he did murder someone. There is even mentions of righting wrongs brought upon the Roman Empire by Caesar. Besides just the book, outside sources tell us different things about the characters, including their humility and their charisma and other qualities that really just change your perception on who is good and bad. There are so many factors that go into it, but as godly people, we need to further ourselves as much as possible to really understand people's hearts and decide for ourselves if they are good or bad. Cultural backgrounds will largely impact someone's assumptions. We just have to be careful to not view an outcome too differently depending on who the good guys are. It's up to us to be a light and to help answer these difficult questions in a godly manner. Thank you.